Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 461, or Season 3, Episode 44. So this one's going to be pretty short because I feel like most of the chapter, even see you said it in the blog post, most of the chapter was combat stuff, so there's a little bit less content to talk about, but I thought it was really, really good. At the time, I really liked Kallavan versus White 1, and in hindsight, I really, really still like it a lot, so I loved this chapter again. Even though it was one of those chapters where we just got a tiny piece of the story, and so reviewing it is like one of those things where you can't really review it as a whole story on its own, it's just a little fragment of what was going on at the time. But I really enjoyed it. And because this is short, right now I'm kind of behind on video, so it's the only one coming this week. But in the future, as I get kind of caught up on things, I might do like 2 or 3 of these a week to catch up more quickly. But at the same time, I don't know about catching up more quickly because I don't know how long this hiatus is going to be. And then there wouldn't be any more reviews, but there are still tons of other videos that I have planned and that I'm working on for Tower of God. Just tons and tons of things coming. And also potentially more collaborations and stuff. I really need to get to answering people, so if anybody's reached out to me about collaborations and stuff and they're watching this, I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm sorry, I really, really need to get on that, but I'm not going to carry on with any updatey stuff anymore. Because I don't want you to have to sit through too much of that. So let's get into talking about the actual chapter itself. We start off with the chairman's rankers attacking Suo, and I'm gonna kind of go with the Suo pronunciation instead of Sowo, which I've been saying a lot. I kind of like Sowo because it reminds me of the Pokemon Ho-Oh, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be pronounced Suo. So the rankers that the chairman has are attacking her because of the information that Delete gave them about Kallavan. So they're obviously like, this guy was a former squadron commander in Zahard's army. There's no way. We can't take him on. There's nothing we can do, so we're just gonna go ahead and let him free the hero, because then they'll just leave us alone and let us live our lives. Suo, of course, gets annoyed at this, and one line I like here was when Suo was saying that darn Slayer candidate, did he mess everything up? What does Kelhelm see in him? And I like that. That shows that Kelhelm sees something in Bomb, in Viol. So I like that. And I like Suo here. I kind of forgot. I kind of took for granted her character in this arc. We didn't get too much of her, but I actually like her and would like to see more of her in the future. Another great thing is Hatsu watching White's techniques. CU really put a lot of focus on that, and I have a feeling that, of course, because focus was put on it like that, it's got to come into play at some point later. I like that. Having more of the side characters, having more of Bomb's allies, get something that develops them and brings them forward in the story some. And I said it last time I did a review, but again, I will say it. I kind of prefer Spinel and its attacks, the way it looks, its design and all, to Cullinan, actually. That's not a knock on Cullinan, as much as I like it as sort of like White's strongest sword or whatever. I just think, looking back, and I even thought at the time, Spinel looks cooler, and I think the attacks look really, really cool. I think the attacks look cooler. Of course, the scale is not as massive, but I just really like the design of it. So then after that, Kalavan activates the Void Essence, or Essence of Bravery. I kind of want to call it like the Void Essence or the Null Essence, because that's such a cooler name. And that's what, if you hadn't been paying attention or anything I think I mentioned it in another video, that you might not have seen, but I will bring it up here just in case people hadn't heard. The whole Essence of Bravery thing is another translation issue like Shinwan Ryu or Shinsu Black Hole Sphere. Shinsu Black Hole Sphere is not at all what the word would be like at all. It's Shinwan Ryu, which would mean Divine Circular Flow or Divine Origin, which makes a lot more sense than Shinsu Black Hole Sphere, because Shinwan Ryu is sort of a technique, a way of doing things. that only irregulars can use. So Divine Circular Flow or Divine Origin makes more sense. It's not like an actual specific thing. Like, it's not a specific attack or anything like Shinsu Black Hole Sphere sounds. And the same is true of the Essence of Bravery. The Essence of Bravery is not what the word is at all. It's like, oh man, I don't remember the actual name anymore. I did. But it translates to Essence of Nothingness, or Null Essence, or Void Essence. Basically, Essence of Emptiness, not Essence of Bravery. The word has nothing to do with that. So I kind of want to call it the Void Essence or the Null Essence, because I think that's such a cooler name, and it's, actually what it is. But Kallavan activates that in order to counterattack, and when he does, it's brought up that this heals him. So I guess that kind of explains. It heals the scratches that were on his arm, so I guess that explains how over time he healed the giant hole in his chest, how he is probably going to end up healing the arm that he loses in the future. Sorry if you're, obviously I'm doing this video months and months after the fact. And it's going to be ordered on my channel that way. So sorry if you're watching it episode by episode and I kind of spoiled that. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think anybody's going to be watching things that way, though. But yeah, either way, that's, I guess, how he's going to heal that back. So it's cool that that was actually mentioned specifically here. And it's really cool to see a fight between two rule breakers, which is what I was thinking about when he activated the Null Essence, is how we have irregulars, but we have people who aren't really irregulars, but who are rule breakers. And those are people that are sort of potentially slayers, like Yama or White or Kallavan, because Kallavan was a potential candidate for Slayer. I didn't really want to say Slayer candidate because that has kind of more of a specific connotation to it. But it was something that Jinsung had thought about for him. So it's cool to see two people with rule-breaking powers fighting here. Kallavan continues just to be a horror villain. Sometimes the way he just shrugs off attacks, he keeps, attacking himself and chasing down whoever he's fighting, and he just gets this look on his face with, the really wide eyes, and yet kind of emotionless or expressionless face going on, and it just feels like a Michael Myers or a Jason type slasher villain or horror villain, and it's so cool when Kallavan's like that during a fight. Also, he uses his bomber ability here, which is one of my favorite abilities of Kallavan, where he punches somebody. I like it every time he uses it, and he knocks them backwards and then creates an explosion behind them, so he punches them into the explosion. It's so cool. One of my favorite abilities of his. We learned that the key to freeing Dowon is Kane's memories, so Kane has to sacrifice her memories to bring Dowon back. Suo backs up White. Now, I don't think White would have actually died from that attack or anything. Probably would have been pretty hurt. But Suo backs him up. I don't want to totally say, saves him. He's outmatched here by Kallavan, but I don't think outmatched so much that that would have just straight up killed him. And then at the very, very end, Dowon is freed, and it was a really cool moment, actually, reading it back. It kind of makes me disappointed, because I kind of feel like Dowon is a disappointing character from what we see in the future, but at least for this moment, when she's freed, it's a pretty cool moment. From there, though, that's everything that happens in the chapter, but I do think there is some blog information worth talking about. So in the blog, CU mentions that Spinel is specialized to be quick and precise. So again, it's a quick and precise sword. I think that's cool. It's something that I hadn't really thought about or heard because I'm just now reading a lot of these. When I was reading week to week, just doing the reactions, I didn't read a lot of these blog posts because I was just in the habit of reading them when I did the notes for the reviews. So again, some of this stuff is information that I hadn't really thought about. He also mentions that Kallavan using the Void Essence is out of White's league at his current strength. So even one-armed Kallavan here, if he uses the Essence of Bravery or Null Essence, is stronger, too much for the current White to handle, which shows just how large the gap is from this White to his fully realized resurrected form that we see later on. And I do like how hindsight really does sort of change the context of these reviews a lot. But also he mentions that White just causing scratches on him and everything isn't because White is weaker than Bomb. And this is something that I feel like we've talked about a million times by now. It doesn't mean that White is weaker than Bomb, obviously, but Bomb's attacks affect all enemies. It was something that I brought up, I think, a lot in the Nest arc, where it's not that characters like Kallavan or not Kalavan, like Karaka or White are weaker because they're doing less physical damage than what Bomb is doing to him. It's that, imagine you're in an RPG and like Kalavan's got a defense of 30 and White or Karaka has an attack of like 32, so they're like doing a little bit of damage over what his defense is, but Bomb's attacks are only like a 5 rather than a 32, but that 5 ignores armor, that 5 ignores defense. So that's why Bomb's attacks just are different. They do more damage, they work more well. Even though Bomb is far weaker, he can ignore that defense, it seems. So yeah, that's all the blog information. I loved the chapter a lot. I liked Suo here, I mentioned that before. I think that her character was something that I hadn't really paid enough respect to. I mean, I liked her, and even now, it's like, I'm kind of overhyping her almost, because I do like her. I want to see more of her. I want to see her developed more. But yeah, I thought she was good here. The Hatsu stuff was great. I think that's really, really good, because I like when the side characters, especially the older side characters or the regular side characters, get some good attention and development, and I feel like that's something that is definitely going to be brought up at some point in the future. And Kallavan versus White is just amazing. I really, really enjoy this. It's kind of a mini fight, but I kind of enjoyed this mini fight quite a lot. As a score, I would give it 8.5 sacrificed memories out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. It's just hard to really put a score on these things, like my scores really matter for anything anyway, because like I said before, this is just a tiny piece of a grander story. This chapter wasn't its own self-contained thing. It's just a piece of what was going on at the time. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you did too. Like I said, I'll have a bunch more of these reviews coming in the next few weeks. I'm hoping to do them every Monday. If I'm running behind, they'll maybe be on Tuesday. But I'm hoping to do these every Monday, and like I said, if I have time, I'll try to do 2 or 3 instead of just 1. But I've also got a bunch of other videos I'm working on, especially Tower of God videos, that I really want to do before we get back from hiatus. So I don't know how I'm going to balance and juggle all of this. Maybe I will only do 1 a week. That way I just take all that extra time to work on the more long, note-heavy videos, and I take the time to work on that, and that gives you a steady stream of at least having the review every single week, even like if this hiatus takes like months more. So I don't know. We don't know exactly how long this hiatus is going to take, which kind of puts my own plans up in the air, because there's a bunch of things I want to get done before we get back from hiatus, and I'm not sure how I should pace myself. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, or my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more. Tower of God, much more on the channel. Like I said, all of these chapters, because there are some chapters that I missed reviews on and I was only able to do a reaction to, I'm just going back through, and all the chapters that I missed I'm doing reviews of, so there's going to be more of these coming every Monday, hopefully. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, ask and I'll give you one. If you would like to help support the channel on Patreon, it's patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description, and it seriously does help me keep making these videos, and thank you, huge thank you to people who are already patrons. But yeah, that is it. Even if you don't want to be a patron, thank you so much for watching and just being a part of the channel's community. It means so much. And if I am behind on a ton of your comments, sorry, I'm still trying to answer every single one I possibly can ever. I'm just trying my best. But either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.